Awkwardness versus orthodox. Manchester versus London. Pace versus power. Anthony Joshua versus Tyson Fury. It's on. Hey guys, it's JT, and as I'm sure every single one of you heard yesterday, the whole world was rocked by this. It is on. It has been confirmed. The contract has been signed for the biggest boxing fight in my lifetime, at least. So that's the past 20 years. Probably all time, depending on how you look at it. Maybe you could say the Rumble in the Jungle was maybe bigger. And maybe you could say Pacquiao Mayweather was bigger. For me, I think this fight's bigger. I think you're looking at two fighters in their pomp. Back then, Mayweather played it very tactically. He waited until Pacquiao, he'd got sparked out a couple of times. He looked like he was on the down, and then he fought him at the end of his career, basically. This, on the other hand, two of the biggest fighters on the planet at the moment, duking it out for every single belt that the heavyweight division has. Even the IBO belt, which isn't really cared about. Every single top draw belt that you can get there is on the line, and you're looking at two of the most charismatic, enigmatic, fan-cultivating people you can get fighting. Not only that, but they're both from England. They're both one of our own. They are both very, very local to me and a lot of you, I'm sure. And just, it really, really helps build up the fight. Because what I will say about English fighters versus a lot of other fighters, a lot of people in the past have said it. I've heard Mike Tyson say it when he's talking with Frank Bruno. English fighters are treated like absolute gods. When they walk across this country, everybody knows who they are, especially the heavyweights. Everyone worships them like they are greater than life itself. You really, really get behind our own, which you don't necessarily see in quite a lot of other countries. You see it in some places like Mexico and some of the South American countries. America, you don't really see it so much because everything's so fragmented over there. So when you got two of the greatest fighters in the planet, both from England, this boxing mad country, or you can only imagine the hype, the enthusiasm around this fight that you all know. I think I speak for everyone when I say that I am such a massive fan of both of these fighters, and no matter who wins when the fight actually happens, whichever fighter wins, they're gonna get propelled to that next level. I mean, it doesn't look like there can be a next level from what they are, but they will get pushed to that next level. And fair dues to them, because they're both such inspiration, such role models, such experts of their craft, such charismatic individuals that have an unheard of ability to culture people around them, cultivate this atmosphere of loyalty and fandom that not many fighters can do. And whichever one of them do it, it's a credit to them, and they'll be a credit to the sport. Who have you got your money on though? Are you a fan of the slippy arts, the unorthodox rangy style of Tyson Fury, the unexpected charismatic enigmatic character that he is? You never know what he's going to do. He always has you on the edge of his seat because you don't know what the hell he's going to do. You just know, I've got to see it. I've got to be there. Like what he displayed 4 days ago when he went on that IFL interview saying, oh, I could have 12 pints and still beat AJ. I've stopped training. This fight's not going to happen. All of a sudden, 3 days later, boom, it's signed. It's agreed. You never know what's going to come out of this guy's mouth, and you don't know what's going to come out of his fists either. That's what makes him such an exciting fighter to watch. Or on the other hand, are you a fan of the fierce dog-like mentality of AJ, the venomous striking power he has, the ice-cold killer persona, and the brutal knockouts that he can display? Are you a fan of that, or are you more of a fan of the unpredictable nature of Tyson Fury? I think for me it's so hard to call, as you know. But I'm going to go with a bit of a out there one. Everyone generally, I think the favourite, you've got to say the favourite, and probably rightly so, is Tyson Fury. He's still undefeated. He just knocked out Deontay Wilder, one of the most fierce punchers of all time. Knocked him out, made him look like a child in there at times. For me, disregarding that completely though, I think for me the winner of the fight will be Anthony Joshua, and I'll tell you why. It has to do with rising to the occasion, and don't get me wrong, Tyson Fury rises to the occasion like no other as well. He's a fighter who generally fights to the level of his opponents. You see him earlier on in his career where he fights these lower level people, or even later when he came for his comeback. And you think, he's not that impressive. How is he going to beat the likes of Klitschko, the likes of Wilder, the likes of AJ when he's performing like this? But then when he gets in the ring with them, all of a sudden it's a different Tyson Fury, because he only does what he has to do to beat these people. And then when it comes to the big boys, obviously he changes up his game plan a bit and he just goes in there and schools them for the most part. However, I don't think people give Anthony Joshua the credit of rising to the occasion like that, because when he does fight people that are lower level than him, he just brutally knocks them out, and in very quick fashion. But when I look at that Klitschko fight and I look at how he brought his level up so quickly, people were saying, oh, it's too early for him, he's not going to be able to do this, he's not going to be able to do that. And at times, he was outclassed in that fight. He was fighting a guy who had a lot more experience than him. Because when Fury fought Klitschko, Fury had a lot more experience than what AJ had up to that point, so he could school him in that kind of arts. He was fighting someone that was clearly at a higher technical level than him at that time, and he had to display immense levels of bravery, courage, determination to keep himself going. He was in the 11th round of the fight and he was losing. He had virtually 4, 5, 6 minutes left of fighting. When he knocked him out, he had about 4 minutes left of fighting before he lost the fight, and he still had the courage to beat him, to stand there and keep his composure. He wasn't rash, he wasn't just swinging rash, going for a lucky punch. He composed himself and he hit that sweet, sweet uppercut, which eventually ended up with him getting 2 more knockdowns after that in the round and ending up winning the fight. But to go through all of that and maintain his composure like he did, that just shows immense bottle. And compared to what he is now, 3-4 years down the line with even more experience, I think when it comes to that massive fight again, I don't back anyone to be able to beat him. I think if you look at his one loss he had against Ruiz, it's because he was underestimating the fight. He wasn't building himself up for this mega fight like he is now. And as a result of that, when that one lucky shot did hit, he wasn't mentally in a place to deal with it. If he'd been building himself up to deal with this Ruiz fight, and it was the biggest fight of his career and this and that, when he did get that strike, he would have had some sort of better defense mechanism, in my opinion. I think he would have had more prepared to deal with that, because he just did not expect anything like that happening. But I think in this fight, he is anticipating and he is planning for the worst, that Tyson Fury could clip him with a shot and really badly hurt him. And I don't think he was planning for that before. Speaking of that, being prepared for the big shot, I heard Believing Bruce saying something on the Knockout, and it's about how Anthony Joshua has transformed himself as a fighter, kind of in the same way that Floyd Mayweather did when he went from Pretty Boy Floyd to Floyd Money Mayweather, where he was a bit more defensive in style. Similar thing with AJ. He knows he can get rocked, so as a result of that, he knows that he has to keep himself kind of back a bit more defensively and ensure that he doesn't get hit with that big bang. Unlike Fury, who has never showed the wobbly legs and that kind of cerebellum system going in him, so he doesn't really have to worry so much about a big strike affecting his game plan so dramatically. So he can be a bit more reckless at times than Anthony Joshua can. But I feel with Anthony Joshua knowing this more in advance now for this fight, he can plan for it more. And I think if people think that this is going to be the same AJ that went in that first fight against Ruiz, then you are massively mistaken. This is a lot more well-versed AJ, a lot more well-rounded AJ, and an AJ that I believe can win the fight. Look, I still feel this is going to be an incredibly tough fight, an incredibly close fight, and I feel like it could go down to the last 1 or 2 rounds. Not many people knowing what's going to happen. Maybe AJ comes out firing first couple rounds, firing some big shots off, pushes Fury back. Then 3rd or 4th round, he maybe starts to slow down a bit in attempts to not lose his gas later on. Fury grows into it a bit, and I can see it being quite a back and forth fight. Who gets the advantage of that? At the end of the day, although I've just said what I said, nobody really knows. And that's why it's such an exciting fight to watch, because Fury could go in there and just absolutely school him. He could make him look like an amateur, like he's saying he is. He keeps saying, oh, he's a pumped up bodybuilder. He doesn't know anything about boxing. He's got slow hands. He's got slow feet, this and that. So maybe he is right. Maybe he could go in and prove everything he said right and absolutely school him. Or maybe Anthony Joshua goes in there, sets him up better than Deontay Wilder did, and hits him with that lethal right hand, concussive right hand that he has in fact, and cleans him out. And that is what makes this fight so exciting. Nobody knows what's gonna happen. To caveat what I did just say about Anthony Joshua, I'm gonna admit the fact that I do have a slight bias going into it. Although I said I love both fighters very much, Anthony Joshua is someone who I have met. I've met him a couple of times. I've seen him a few times, and I have trained at his main boxing gym, Finchley ABA, because when I say he's local, I mean the guy is very, very local. I grew up in Barnet. He lived in Finchley. Finchley and Barnet, very, very close. And his gym, Finchley ABA, I don't know why the hell it's called Finchley ABA. I need a bit of clarification on that. Because it's nowhere near Finchley. It's in New Barnet, for God's sake. His gym is literally in New Barnet, right near where I lived. I went past it every day. He was very local to the area. So obviously, you're going to back your local boys. You're going to back the people that are from the same area as you. So I've always had a love for AJ in that regard. Maybe Fury is the man to beat him, but I just personally think that even without that bias, that AJ is going to do the job. But obviously, I can't ignore the fact that that bias does exist subconsciously, if anything. And maybe I can't control it. I'm no mental expert. Maybe I need Believe in Bruce to come on here and tell me about my eye contact. Something's going on to show this bias. I couldn't tell you, but I just thought I'd let you know that there is a subtle bias, perhaps, in the words I'm saying. Irregardless of who wins, though, it is going to be an absolute firecracker. And you've heard what I have to say, but like I say, I'm no complete boxing expert. I don't know everything about the sport, and maybe you know more. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say down below. Are you an AJ man? Are you a Fury man? Or are you both fighters fans? And can you objectively say who you think's going to win? I objectively think that AJ's going to win. Maybe you think objectively that Fury's going to win. Where do you think the fight's going to take place? When do you think it's going to happen? Do you think that there's still a chance that this fight could get called off? Because obviously the money has not exchanged hands. The venue has not been agreed yet. Do you think it could still get called off? I'd love to hear what you lot have to say down below. I've given my views. It's been JT. Thank you very much for watching. If you could like the video, that would be very much appreciated. And hey, if you're new to the channel, give the channel a little look. I make a lot of football content, especially Leeds United content. And if you like the stuff, maybe you might want to subscribe so you can keep up to date with everything else that I upload. I'll be uploading more fight content as the coming weeks and months roll down to this fight and any other fights that are happening. McGregor-Poirier 3, very excited about that one. Hopefully that's going to happen within a couple of months. If you're a fan of Leeds, you're a fan of football, you're a fan of fighting, whatever it is, be sure to subscribe if you do enjoy the content. If you don't, hey, I'd appreciate a comment letting me know where I can improve. But it's been your boy JT either way. And hopefully this fight gets over the line so we can all enjoy an absolute classic. See you soon.